Hi, my name is Jane Bluestein. I'd like to talk a little bit about motivation today and a couple of the issues that come up anytime I talk about this topic. Regardless of where I am, anywhere in the world, anytime I get a group of parents or teachers, they always seem to have the same kind of questions. How do I get my kid to do this? How do I get my kids to do that? And so, I used to talk a lot, or I still do. I talk about boundaries and setting boundaries to motivate kids all the time. That's one of the big issues. So I had this parent send me this email one time, and she said, "Oh, I used a boundary with my kid. I told him he better get upstairs and clean his room, or he wasn't going to go out for the next 2 weeks." And I said, "Okay, well, that's kind of familiar. That's what we do, and that's how we talk. But let's see if we could make it positive, a little more positive, and turn it into a promise instead of a threat." And then how that got twisted around was I get this parent that says, "Okay, this is what I said. I promise you, if you don't get this work done and don't get your room cleaned, you're not going out for 2 weeks." Okay, that's kind of close, but not quite exactly what I mean. So let's talk about a couple things that are going to make boundaries and good motivation techniques work. First of all, let's keep it positive. There's a big difference between doing something for a positive outcome and doing something to avoid a negative outcome. I don't want, to use something like "this bad thing will happen to you" or "I'll be angry," to motivate a kid. Let's look for something that connects to something that is more positive. And when I say stated as a promise instead of a threat, what that means is we're going to emphasize the positive consequences of you doing what I want. So sure, I'll be happy to make dinner as soon as the counters are cleared off. That offer is good until 5 o'clock because good boundaries are clear. I'll be happy to wash the clothes that are in the hamper by 9 o'clock on Saturday. So sure, you can go out as soon as your room is clean. Here's 5 things I mean by a clean room, or 10 things, or whatever, depending upon, of course, the age of the child and the condition of the room. What else? Keep it positive. Emphasize the positive consequence. And see, we're not oriented to that in our culture. We always talk about, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen, or here's the bad thing that'll happen if you do what I don't want you to do. Let's instead talk about, okay, you want to do this, you want to go, to the game on Friday night, as long as your homework's done, your room's clean, your chores are done, whatever the criteria are, and that those criteria are very, very clear. So the emphasis is on the positive outcome. Sure, you can have this as soon as you do that. In schools, the examples we use a lot, of course you can take a new library book out as soon as you bring back the one that you already have at home. So you're connecting it to something that's very positive for the child and positive for the parent now, or the teacher. And the good thing about this, it does a couple things. One, it changes the energy. Listen to the difference. Even if you say it very positively, "No, you're not going out on Saturday if your room's not clean." Now that's logical. It's a logical consequence. It's also a negative consequence. And the problem with negative consequences is they don't tend to work as much, and they put a lot of stress in the relationship. And what if you have a kid who really doesn't care if he goes out Friday night, or is going to sneak out whether you want him to or not? So if you change it to a positive consequence, even though the contingency is exactly the same, a couple things happen. So you say something like, "Sure, you can go out on Friday as long as your room is clean, or as long as your homework is done, or as long as your laundry is folded," or whatever it is that you are trying to get the kid to do. "I'll take you to the mall as soon as you finish these 3 chores," or whatever. Again, focus on the positive. Again, this takes a lot of the stress out. It's much more positive energetically. And here's the best part. If you haven't been sold yet, here's the best part. It puts all the responsibility on the kid. I had a teacher one time in one of my seminars go back, and you remember the days when we only had one phone in the house? She had one phone, and everybody shared it, and she had a 16-year-old daughter, and of course, very important for the daughter to have access to the phone. So the rule in the house was, if your homework's not done by 8 o'clock, you can't use the phone between 8 and 9. Now, there isn't a person in the world who's going to say that that's unreasonable. So the mom went back, and she, told her daughter, she said, "I really want to change that rule. It's really negative. I want to change it. I want to make it more positive." And of course, her 16-year-old, typical, said, "Oh, you take another class." And the mom said, "Yeah, this is important. I want to get this right." So she said, "It's your house. It's your phone. I know how important it is for you to use the phone. That phone is yours at 8 o'clock. All you have to do is get your homework done. If your homework's done by 8 o'clock, and by the way, done means legible and complete. Not a rush job, because that's, a great first draft. Legible and complete. So, you want the phone, as long as your homework's done by 8 o'clock, that phone is yours for the next hour. Now, if you notice, the contingency didn't change. She still has access to the phone as long as she does what mom wants, which is obviously get her homework done. Very reasonable. But where's all the responsibility now? It's on the kid. And of course, the kid got very upset about this. So she said, Mom, that's not fair, because now if I don't finish, I can't blame you. Yes, exactly. That's what you want. It's on the kid now. And if the kid doesn't get the homework done, magic sentence, we'll try again tomorrow. So this is one element of setting a boundary and motivating kids is positivity. In the next session, we'll talk about meaningfulness. I'll be back. Thanks.